I'm keeping this group together, alive. I've been doing that all along, no matter what. I didn't ask for this. I killed my best friend for you people, for Christ's sake. You saw what he was like. How he pushed me. How he compromised us. How he threatened us. He staged the whole Randall thing. Led me out to put a bullet in my back. He gave me no choice. He was my friend, but he came after me. My hands are clean. Maybe you people are better off without me. Go ahead. I say there's a place for us, but maybe it's just another pipe dream. Maybe I'm fooling myself again. Well, why don't you go and find out yourself? Send me a postcard. Go on, there's the door. You can do better. Let's see how far you get. No takers? Fine. But get one thing straight. You're staying. This isn't a democracy anymore.
And with that, we welcome you to this special edition of MMA Weekly Radio, where we are dead, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, we are The Walking Dead. I am your host, Damon Martin, alongside my special co-host for the day from Tap Out Radio and huge fan of The Walking Dead, Crooklyn. Welcome back to the show.
Hello. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we had a Walking Dead show, and we all love Jeff, my boy Jeff Kane, my co-host, but he doesn't watch The Walking Dead.
I know, it's weird. I don't know anyone that doesn't watch it. I got so many texts last night. It was absolutely stunning how many of my friends watch it.
Yeah.
I think I've got probably 40 or 50 texts last night about it.
Yeah, I like it. So we had to bring in a special co-host today. And I tell you what, Crooklyn, we have got a kick-ass show. Before we get to any of our guests, I got to throw this out there. The reason we have two members of The Walking Dead here today, that's right, two members of the cast of The Walking Dead, Michael Rooker, who you know as Merle Dixon, and of course, Irone Singleton, who you know as T-Dog, both on the show today. Thank you to Crooklyn. She is the reason we have them on the show today. So Crooklyn, thank you sincerely for making this a very special Walking Dead episode where we actually have two cast members on the show with us today.
Hey, no problem. I have to in turn thank my two girls, Wendy Shepard and Juliet Terzif, because if it weren't for them, I wouldn't have been able to be so generous with the guests. So thank you to my girls, and no problem. Anytime I can help you, you know that. We've always been on the exchange program.
Yeah, exactly. We've been that for years. We're down like that, Crooklyn. We're down.
That's
like
right.
That, so.
And I'm throwing all kinds of Damon Martin signs right now, like gang fingers.
I like it. Well, we're going to kick off the show today with a very special guest. He, of course, as you know, is Merle Dixon from The Walking Dead. His name is Michael Rooker. He's been in a ton of other films, including The Replacement Killers and one of my personal favorites, Mallrats. But he is going to talk to us about The Walking Dead and his role, a little spoiler teaser here, in The Walking Dead Season 3. So let's kick things off with Michael Rooker. When we come back, it's going to be right into our conversation with our other special guests, four fighters who are huge Walking Dead fans. We're going to welcome in Tim Kennedy, Joe Lauzon, Yves Edwards, and Nate Rock Quarry. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Right now, here's Michael Rooker. When we come back, it's Walking Dead time with the fighters. Tim Kennedy, Joe Lauzon, Yves Edwards, Nate Quarry. Right now, here's Merle Dixon himself with a little spoiler information for Season 3 of The Walking Dead.
We are here with MMA Weekly Radio. I am Damon Martin, and we are honored to be joined today on our own edition of The Talking Dead with one of the stars of The Walking Dead, Merle himself, Michael Rooker. Michael, thank you so much for taking the time with us today.
Right on, man. Good to be here.
I'm going to introduce my co-host, of course, from Tap Out Radio, Kirkland, who is going to go ahead with the first question of the day.
All right. So, Michael, obviously the first thing on everyone's mind is, are we going to get to see some Merle in Season 3?
You're going to get to see maybe more Merle than you ever wanted to see.
See, I love that. I like the interactions that you're having with Daryl, and I like that hard-nosed, hard-ass stance that you're taking on everything. So that's good news for all of us.
You know what it is? It's tough love. That's all. You know, the kid grew up by himself. I grew up, you know, in and out of the Audi home, and you know, and whatnot. But I tried to take good care of him, and you know, and I think I did a pretty good job. What do you think? He's doing okay.
I think you turned him into a man. That's what I think. Now, I do have one other question really fast. You know, we know you sawed off your arm. That was pretty evident. Are we going to see Merle sporting a hook or a spike or maybe a machine gun attached to it, sort of Evil Dead style?
How about a bazooka? I'd rather have a bazooka, a rocket launcher, something like that. No, I've never, you know, imagining Merle, I could not imagine Merle being the man he is, walking around with a stump. But that being said, he's quite adept at inventing things, and I'm sure he's good with his hands. So we may do something. I'm not sure what.
That would be awesome. Maybe a crossbow or something. That'd be so cool.
No, the crossbow's been done. Daryl's doing the crossbow.
Damon, I'm going to turn him over to you for a little bit before I get greedy here.
Now, Michael, this season of The Walking Dead, obviously you made a fantastic appearance during the season when you had the interaction with Norman, you know, Daryl on the show. What was it like to be back there? I mean, did you miss, obviously being a part of the first season and the reception, it was crazy online and everybody was so excited to see you back there. I mean, it was a brief appearance, but did you have fun being a part of the second season, even in a dream sequence?
Oh, I was totally stoked. Everyone, as soon as I walked on set, everyone was like, Merle is back. Yes. And so they're big fans of Merle as well. So when we got a chance to do the scene, Norman and I are good friends, and so this is really, when you think about it, out of the first season and the second season, that's the only time we ever interacted on camera. So it was awesome, man. I had a great time. I enjoyed it. It was tough love. It's Big Brother, you know, motivating little brother, motivating him to save his own life, you know. And sometimes you gotta be tough with people like that.
Yeah, I got to admit, I'm a little sad. I'm so excited you're coming back for season 3. But one of the interactions I always wanted to see was Shane and Merle, and now Shane's gone, so we don't get to see that. I felt like they would have been.
Isn't that a bitch? I was hoping they'd save Shane for me. You know, but it didn't happen, and that's just the way it is. And you know, I told everyone that I'm coming back. Robert Kirkman has said that I'm coming back, but you know what? I'll just throw it out there. Whether it means anything to anyone else, there's still one more episode left in the season.
See, the teaser is out there. That's the thing. The teaser is out there. I like it.
That's a good teaser. I mean, that's a good teaser. And whether or not it happens or not, I'm not at liberty to say. But I never said any specifics in regards to when I was coming back. I'm letting people know that I am coming back. Robert Kirkman says I'm coming back. As a matter of fact, Norman Reedus has stated in several interviews that his big brother is coming back.
And I know everyone excited with the show has transcended so much over these past couple of years. I mean, I always felt like this would be a special show, but has it been kind of crazy to see the reception that The Walking Dead has had? I mean, it really has become a cultural phenomenon.
Dude, it's killer, and it's so amazing, and basically I'm pretty damn honored to be involved with a group of actors and directors and producers and Gil and Hurd and all these guys, and I'm having a great time. I mean, even playing the cat and mouse thing over this past season, you know, in my interviews, you know, I can't really say anything, and you know, so I've gotten very good at talking for an hour without saying a damn word, you know, not giving anything away.
With that said, though, as we come up to the season finale, you've obviously still been watching the show. How did you like season 2 of The Walking Dead? How did you enjoy the movement of the story this year?
You know what? I'm an action guy. I really enjoy. I'm not a big I like dialogue, and I like getting to know the characters and stuff like that. But I'm going to have to say that I'm with the fans. You know, we want to see some action, and I can't wait to get back in there and do what I do best. And that's not entirely all action. You know, I did that 4-minute monologue in episode 4. And that was not a lot of action there. So it's internal psychological action going on. It doesn't necessarily mean physical action. So I enjoyed it because I like the fact that we get to know these people almost too well now. We know them so well that it's going to really hurt when even the ones that we don't like that much get eaten, whatever, you know. So it happens, you know. It's in a post-zombie apocalyptic world, and you know we humans can get eaten. We're not the head of the food chain anymore.
You know what? I got to say, I bet Merle's really happy that little punk Dale is dead. I could just imagine that he'd be standing off to the side clapping while Dale got eaten.
Merle and Shane would have probably been going like, who is this guy anyway? Why does he keep talking? No. Dale was a wonderful character, actually. And,
yeah, he was. He was a good antagonist for everybody. He certainly was.
Yeah, and in a very subtle way, you know, in a very verbal and a very, you know, it was very, very cool to have that input, you know. So very good. Very good.
Who would have thought that your conscience would be an antagonist in a show?
You know what? I think our consciences are very definitely can be our antagonists in real life.
Yeah, and Dale definitely showed that. That was very, very good writing. The way they wrote his character there to us all the way up until the end, it was good stuff. And it was. I thought it was kind of a neat turn of events that Daryl was the one that put the bullet in him too.
Well, you know, I like Daryl's. A comment and to the cop, you know, he said, you know, you don't have to always do the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's very telling. I mean, it's very telling who this guy is. I'm the cop. I have to make the decisions. I'm the boss. No, it doesn't happen that way all the time in real life. You know, I mean, you have issues. We all have issues, but you don't have to be the boss, my friend. And so, And I think he, you know, the weight of all this has really starting to crumble around him, and it was very cool that Daryl took up the gauntlet and did the righteous thing.
Absolutely, Damon.
Let me ask you this, because we know you're coming back for season 3, Michael. Obviously, we can't give away any spoilers, but let me ask you this, because kind of a two-part question. Online, for months, you know, before this announcement was made, everyone was asking, when is Merle coming back? Is Merle the governor? You know, the character coming up in season 3, all these questions. And now that we know you're coming back, the speculation continues to run. I mean, what does that mean to you as an actor to see the fans outpouring? And if you want to give us spoilers about season 3, you feel free. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, no spoilers coming from this mouth. But I got to tell you, the fan base is phenomenal. You know, I even from season 1 when I first appeared, there were fans that jumped on the bandwagon for Michael Rooker and Merle Dixon and the Dixon brothers, basically overall. I mean, we have several fan base groups, you know, the Dixon Vixens, the Rookerholics, Rooker Nation. I mean, you could get rookered, I mean, online now. I mean, people love to get rookered, and getting rookered just means a lot of different things. I mean, you could watch before the episode tonight, you could watch a movie that I did, you know, maybe 15, 20 years ago. And so, yeah, it's very cool, and I really, truly appreciate it. I go on Twitter. Maybe 4 years ago, I didn't really have an internet footprint or anything, and so I'm really digging it. I like conversing, and I like talking with the fans on there and on Facebook and Twitter and everything. So hey, you can look me up, man. Come on, it's Michael _Rooker. Come on down and talk.
I love it. And obviously with season 3, I know the filming kicks off, I believe, in May. How exciting is it going to be just to see everybody again and to be a regular part of the cast? Because I know that I saw some interviews with John Bernthal and some of the other guys that left. They said it really is a family atmosphere, and it kind of broke their heart to have to leave. But that's the dynamic of this show. No one's safe.
And it's good that no one's safe. I don't want to be safe. I think not being safe makes you, hungry and makes you fight more. And this is good. I love everybody there. I mean, this is like the first real show that I've been involved with. I did another one called Thief. We did 6 episodes, but you hardly ever work with all the other actors, But this time around, we hang out, we live in a similar area, so we go have coffee and chill out and talk and have a good time. And so it is a good family atmosphere, and it's very cool.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I was stuck in a zombie apocalypse, I'm sticking next to Merle and Daryl and Shane, because that's who's going to help you survive. I'm telling you right now.
Shane is dead. We got no Shane no more.
Well, Shane, there ain't no more Shane now, man. You're gonna have to hook up with Merle and Merle Dixon, and we will definitely take good care of you. Don't you worry. I mean, we're not gonna throw you under the train like Shane did to the poor old guy earlier on.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, Michael, can I ask you one thing really quick? You are, your character has always, as you said, been an action guy. What is the physical training and everything that you do for it?
Big time. Oh, big time. I do Kokushin karate. I studied and trained and lived at the dojo. I was an Oshidashi for Aikido. So I lived at the school for 3 years and trained, and this was when I was a younger man, before I even went to theater school. And so over the years, I like to keep busy and I like to keep active. And my dojo in Little Tokyo here in LA is a great dojo, and it's full contact. It's a lot of fun. I like getting hit and I like hitting people, and I enjoy that. I don't necessarily like the bruises, but that goes with the territory. People think I'm a little nutsy, doing this kind of stuff, but I really enjoy it. I mean, it's not full on, beat your head in, stuff, So you're doing full contact, but not full power. And so there's a big difference there. And so you're learning and you're growing, you're having fun doing it. And that's what I do mainly. So yeah, that's how I stay in shape.
That's fantastic. And you do a great job, sir. You definitely do. Damon?
Thanks.
Well, obviously, The Walking Dead Season 2 is ending, but now, see, we have the spoiler. It just makes us that much more excited for The Walking Dead Season 3 when Merle walks back onto our canvas, walks back into our hearts, and walks back into our TV screens. I can't wait, Michael. I'm very excited to see what Season 3 is going to be all about, because we know the governor's coming, dude, Merle's coming. It's going to be great.
It's going to be awesome. And I hope I didn't mislead people when I said I'm an action guy. I just like to be proactive, and I enjoy doing it. And so if you talk to people, I think actually when they talk about my power, the most powerful stuff that I've done, many times it's not action at all. And many times I'm not even talking. It's just this very, much more subtle than that kind of, than that stuff. And so I think for The Walking Dead, the writing is awesome, and we get a chance to explore all kinds of different avenues in expressing the character,
Well, when I say action, though, I'm referring specifically to The Walking Dead, because you are in an environment there on set where that you do have to have several action scenes. I mean, you guys are running zombies. You're fighting zombies, and so that basically, I was wondering what kind of rigorous workouts and training you have involved with pretty much staying in shape and being able to enact all these scenes.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You didn't see the scene, but you saw the aftermath when I leave the rooftop. I got one hand, I'm bleeding out, I have to cauterize my wound, and there's 3 dead zombies. So that's being proactive. You know, that's not running from zombies. That's making a lovely retreat. I'm making my way to the van. I'm going to steal it, and I'm going to drive away. So that's what happened.
And it's a perfect segue to possibly seeing the end of season 2 or the beginning of season 3, the return of Merle. I could just see the posters now, Michael. It's coming.
Right on, brother. Right on. We're going to have a damn good time.
It's great. It's great. We can't wait. Well, did you have anything else, Kirkland, before we let Michael go?
No, I just wanted to thank him so much for giving us his time today. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I hope we get to do it again soon before the 3rd season starts. And you're just awesome. You've got a lifelong fan in both of us here.
Oh, you guys are crazy. What can I say? Thank you so much. And I had a good time talking to you guys. And hey, I love what's going on in the community there, the MMA community, and it's really come a long way. It's pretty amazing, pretty damn amazing.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, the MMA community is we're doing an entire show around The Walking Dead with just UFC fighters. I mean, that's pretty amazing that the UFC and all the MMA community, we are huge Walking Dead fans to the point where we're having entire radio shows dedicated to The Walking Dead. So that should tell you the MMA community is behind The Walking Dead.
Yeah, this is our second one. We did an hour last year with Norman Reedus, and it was fantastic. So we hope to make these a regular thing because basically, The Walking Dead is something that brings people from all avenues of life together, in my opinion. It really has transcended a lot of boundaries.
It's amazing. I just, it's unfathomable that something, a show that really hooked into the pulse of the nation and the world, and it amazes me. It just simply amazes me. Happy to be involved.
Well, Michael, again, thank you so much for the time. And, again, keep up the great work. Not that I need to tell you that, but keep up the great work. We cannot wait for The Walking Dead Season 3, the return of Merle. And sincerely, very, very much from us, from MMA Weekly and from Tap Out Radio, thank you so much for taking the time. We really do appreciate it.
Great, guys. Great to be here, and I hope to see you again soon.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
We are here with the special edition of MMA Weekly Radio, and we want to say thank you earlier in the show, of course, to Merle himself, Michael Rooker, for coming on the show. I am Damon Martin. Kirkland is my co-host, and we are welcoming to the show 4 of the biggest Walking Dead fans you will ever meet. Let me go around the horn and introduce them. First off, he is from the UFC. He is a lightweight contender, and from what I heard, he actually sawed off his own arm as a tribute to coming on this show. Joe Lauzon. Joe, thank you for joining the show.
Glad to be here.
Also a UFC lightweight. He might actually want to saw off his arm because I know he's at home right now, kind of bummed out being injured, but he is joining us for the show today. Yves Edwards. Yves, welcome back to part of the family of MMA Weekly Radio.
Thank you, man. This is going to be fun. It's my favorite show, so bring both my favorite shows together.
Yeah, definitely. Also from the show today, he is a Strikeforce middleweight contender, soon to be Strikeforce middleweight champion. We'll throw that out there as well. And he's carrying a shotgun, so if you hear a blast today, that's where it's coming from. Tim Kennedy, welcome to the show.
Locked and loaded. Let's do this.
And finally, but last but not least, of course, he is the host of MMA's Uncensored Live on Spike TV. He is the owner of Zombie Cage Fighter and I think an avid comic book reader as well. Our good friend Nate Corey. Nate, welcome back to the show.
Can I just say right out the gate that Rick needs to be killed so we can just get that done with?
Well, let's get right into it, man. The Walking Dead Season 2 finale last night, so much happened. Let me start with this question. I'll go around the horn. I'll start with you, Joe. What was your favorite part of the Season 2 finale last night?
I thought that it was awesome all the way around. I'll tell you what my least favorite part was that Lori didn't die. I think that was my least favorite part. But I don't know. I thought it was awesome how Daryl was bombing around on a motorcycle shooting zombies. That was pretty sweet.
All right, so Season 2 finale. Yves, I know your favorite part of the show already happened. They killed Dale. But outside of that, what was your favorite part of the Season 2 finale?
Man, of the finale, it had to be when Andrea manned up and she was showing that she wasn't such a wuss anymore. And then just getting rescued by the Jedi ninja with the pet zombies, that was pretty dope. I'm looking forward to see what that's all about.
Yeah, definitely. Tim, what about you?
I think it was at the very end when finally somebody just steps up and Rick is like, listen, I killed him. I'm the boss. This is not a democracy. This is like Team Rick now, and we're going to do things my way. And he didn't make any. He didn't explain why he killed him. He didn't say that Shane tried to kill him. He's just like, listen, I killed that dude. He's trouble. You guys all wanted it. Now we're going to move forward, and this is how we're going to do it. I was like, finally, somebody just steps up, takes charge, and starts doing the right thing. It's 2 seasons too late for somebody just to finally take the initiative and do the right thing.
Yeah, totally understandable. Nate, what about you? What was the best part of the finale of season 2 of The Walking Dead?
The best part was clearly when Michonne showed up with her zombies in tow, with her ninja sword, her samurai sword. She's the character I've been dying to see. I read the comic every single month, and she is just a badass. It's about time we got somebody with some balls on the show.
Now, Yves was hitting me up last night because I know, Yves, you said you haven't read the comic yet. I told you it's not going to screw things up for you, and I know Nate reads it. Joe, do you read the comic? I can't remember if you do or not.
I got the books. I read about half of it. I read a lot of it.
Okay,
and then my dog ate the next one.
Tim, so everybody here is at least familiar with the comic a little bit. So, because I was super impressed. Crooklyn, you've read the comic too, right?
I'm reading it as I go. I haven't read the whole thing, but I read a bunch of it last night again, and I'm really impressed. I'm firmly of the opinion that when they unveil Michonne, she's totally going to hold up, because I think the actress that they selected is perfect for the role.
So was that your favorite part, or what was your favorite part of the finale?
I have to go with what Tim Kennedy said. I'm definitely a fan of the fact that Rick's balls finally dropped.
Everyone, man, Rick finally manned up. And it's so funny, the whole democracy thing, like that was the whole big thing. This isn't a democracy anymore. And what's crazy to me is everyone's been looking towards somebody as a leader, whether it was going to be Shane or Rick. Rick finally steps up and everyone has this shocked look on their face. And Tim, you were the one that brought it up, but it just seems like, they wanted a leader. They needed somebody to take control. And now that they got it, they're all looking shocked, like they're surprised it happened.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. They've been kind of wandering aimlessly without somebody just to, say this is how we're going to do things. And this, it's always great to have, the collective group make decisions, and everybody feels great about that. But oftentimes there's not enough time for that to happen, especially in a post-apocalyptic world. So, in Rick's situation, where a dude's trying to steal your family, a dude that's like plummeting into insanity, is hazard to not only your close family, but then your extended family, that you're trying to protect. Like, he should have done that 9 episodes ago and just moved on.
Now, Yves, we've had many discussions about the zombie apocalypse. You have a plan in place in case it ever happens. Would you follow by the Rick Grimes plan of ending the democracy?
Definitely. I mean, right now, the way the world is right now, my wife is the world champion of our house. So when the zombies come, it's all Eve land then. It's all Eve world then, and everything I say goes. And when I say something, it's done right away. There's no questions asked. It's going to be done, or people are going to be getting slapped while zombies are getting killed.
Joe, what about you? Because again, you've read the first part of the comic. We know things have varied a little bit, but this has been an ideal that's run in the comic the whole time of somebody leading. They've always looked to Rick, and it's kind of like he didn't want to get thrown into that role, but now that he's in it, it's like, take control, just be the man and take it over. They're looking to you, do it.
I think we're seeing the start of a dictatorship. No more democracy, no more nothing. He's just going to run things the way he wants and get behind him or get out of the way.
Yeah. Now, Nate, again, you have been a fan of the comics, so you followed it all along. Did you see this coming, the whole Rick thing, or were you kind of surprised that he finally stepped up and said, you know what, screw this, I'm going to be the man?
I kind of saw this coming. I just think he's a horrible leader. I have no desire to follow that guy. If it was me, I would have just bailed. I mean, you're looking at a guy who egged on his best friend, who brought somebody back who was trying to kill him, and then even when the group votes that we should go ahead and kill this guy, he still won't do it. He can't man up. He can't shoot Dale and put him out of his misery. The guy's just a big pussy. He's completely losing it. He's out of touch with reality. He should have let the kid die on the fence post, and then he should have just sat down and calmly spoken with Shane and told him what's what. It never needed to come to that. He's just completely losing it. And you can see the look on his face whenever someone questions what he did. He just blurts it out there. I killed Shane. Everybody doesn't give an explanation or anything. And then when people are like, hey, that seems kind of unusual, he gives them this look of disgust. It's like, that's not the guy that I want to be following. I would have just bailed. If I was Daryl, I would have hopped on my motorcycle and got out of there.
So here's an interesting dynamic of the show last night, because when the zombie herd attacks, comes into this to the farm and gets into the barn, everyone gets separated, and we saw I think for one of the first times in a little while, the realism of the show. If a zombie apocalypse were ever to happen, the Beth is pulling away at Patricia, and she literally gets ripped apart in front of her, and they run. There's no going back and saving at that point. We saw a little bit of the realism, because I gotta feel like this is totally apocalypse now. This is totally, it's every man for himself, and there's no saving anybody. And I'll start with you, Tim. Did you get that element a little bit more in the show last night? Because I feel like we should see more of that. It's not, all for one and one for all. It seems like in the zombie world, it's kind of like save your ass.
Yeah, it's been real weak in like the whole, there's whatever 6 billion people, or not even people. There's 6 billion things that are trying to eat my brain. So, let's worry about our relationships, and let's worry about like how the dynamics between me and my old best friend / partner are. Let's find some machine guns. Let's get some claymore mines. Let's dig some ditches, build some walls, and start murdering the other 6 billion things that we need to kill, so that we can move on with our lives and start over again. Yeah, like the whole dynamic of the show has been slow and getting to the point that like this is a survival period of our existence. Like, why don't we just start killing those things?
So now, Yves, I know again you've had a plan for the apocalypse. Is this going more to that plan, or has it bummed you out? We've seen so much of the human element. Do you think that this is we saw more of the real human element come out in this episode?
My plan is based all on you got to be able to let go. I mean, things are going to happen that you can't control. I seriously have a plan planned out, but everything doesn't always work out that way. I think you're seeing that in the show, but I think in the show, for things to work out, like everybody is proud of Rick for stepping up and manning up, and I think Nate is on to something, and I agree with Nate as far as like, and Tim as far as him taking too long to do it, but I think a lot of that comes from his wife too, because that chick is the most annoying chick since Dale, and they gotta do something about her. She's got to be put in check. I mean, she talks Rick into killing Shane, then she talks Shane into believing that she loves him again, and then when Rick kills Shane, she's upset about something, and that's where, for me, and part of my plan is, if it comes to that, man, you got to let go. I would send her out there on her own.
Gotta cut her loose. Nate, what about you? Again, looking from the element of survival versus your loved ones literally being ripped apart in front of your eyes. How do you balance that? I mean, we'd love to think we'd be that detached, but it was a pretty crazy scenario in this episode.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting to see how easily they get over seeing their loved ones get completely ripped apart. But I think that they just haven't done enough planning for these types of things. And the cinematography in it, when Rick and Carl are running back, you see 1,000 zombies behind them. Now all of a sudden they're in the middle of these zombies. How does that even happen? If you've got a herd of something coming right at you, and you've got vehicles that can drive in excess of 5 miles an hour, how hard would that be to get away from them? And there's got to be 100 farms there. Just move on to the next one. And with Rick, what are you thinking? Setting a bunch of zombies on fire? Now you've got these walking torches. They're just going to light the whole forest on fire, light up the house. It's ridiculous. And going back to Rick again, do you really want a guy in charge who can't even keep track of his own kid? Kid is always gone.
Nobody can keep track of Carl. The kid is never in the house. He doesn't do what anybody tells him to. They need to get him one of those kid leashes like you see in the stores. Like, you need to get him a kid leash.
Exactly. And like he said, that woman, what's her name, Lori, she is just horrible. Yeah, she needed to be, she should just be bait. Just shoot her in the calf and run off, and then, yeah, be done with her.
Joe, what about you? Are you on the side of everybody else that this should have been carnage and mayhem and it was a little too controlled, or do you see some of the emotion in what they're going through?
Yeah, no, it was all messed up. Like Nate said, all the zombies were, on the tree line, and then immediately they're in between, Rick in the house and everything else. Obviously, lighting them on fire was a terrible idea. Like, what did that do? Nothing. I did think it looked awesome, like the cinematography, like when they burned down the barn and it actually collapsed. I thought that looked unbelievably awesome. But yeah, it was pure chaos, and honestly, they should just start listening to Daryl.
Yeah.
Let Daryl run things. He's the only one that seems that level-headed and does what has to be done.
How bad would it suck to get killed by a zombie who's on fire? Like, he's eating you and burning you at the same time. How bad would that suck? I mean, I'm just saying, that's like, talk about the worst way to die. Like, you're getting eaten alive. And by the way, you're getting burned alive, too. So,
yeah.
Kirkland, what do you got?
First of all, I was kind of upset that when everybody was packing up in the cars and leaving, Andrea gets left behind, but she's still shooting. No one heard her shooting. I mean, Daryl can hear this faint call over the roar of this big freaking hog. He can hear this faint call from this little mouse-voiced woman, and nobody can hear Andrea shooting when they just left her, 30 seconds ago. That's what bothered me. If you're hearing shooting, somebody's obviously still behind and alive. So I was kind of irritated with that, and like Yves was saying, all of the zombies first at the tree line, and then boom, they're right there in the middle. They've all of a sudden decided to become sprinters, which is unusual because when they're advancing all through the first and second season, they're advancing very slow, and then all of a sudden they're running. They don't run.
Well, that's been one of the big zombie, the big thing, do zombies run or don't run? The Romero version, the George Romero version is you don't run. Then you got the New Age zombies, which I guess technically 28 days later, they're not zombies, but they run. So that's kind of the big debate in the zombie community is do they run or do they don't run? Let's just go around the horn here. Tim Kennedy, should zombies run or don't run? Give us your answer. What do you think?
Well, both of them are, running zombies, of course, a little more difficult to hit. But unless you have a machine gun, you're in a barricaded position, it really doesn't matter. In my post-apocalypse zombie world, me and my community, we don't really care. Either option is just different type of trigger squeeze. You got to leave one a little bit more than the other, so I don't care. I like them both.
Joe, what about you? Running zombies or walking zombies?
I'm hoping for Shaun of the Dead zombies. They hardly move at all. Yeah, you got to be optimistic. Be optimistic.
I like it. Yves, what about you? Running or walking?
For TV, running is fun, but like in reality, I don't see it happening. I mean, they just don't have the coordination, and I mean, they're not smart enough to turn a doorknob or climb a ladder, so I don't see them running.
Yeah, Nate.
Well, what I've found with the underground cage fights in the zombie cage fighting world, the fights that I've gone to see. For the general part, most of the zombies are very slow moving, unless they get these fresh zombies, and they'll actually keep them fed for a couple of days, kind of keep up their strength. They've got a lot of cattle out there that they'll just butcher and feed to these zombies, and then they'll starve them for a day or two before the fights. So now these zombies are still a little bit strong and starving to death now. So when the fight starts, they'll run across the cage to eat on their opponent. But for the most part, these zombies have been starving, they're deteriorating, they don't really have the ability to run unless they're very fresh and they've been well fed.
Yeah, I like it. So now let me switch gears a little bit because talking about the finale and the entire season, we saw, one of the best parts about The Walking Dead, in my opinion, is the fact that literally no one's safe. Anyone can go at any time, and we saw in the last couple of weeks, Yves Edwards' favorite character, Dale, got eaten. Shane got killed in the last episode. I mean, literally, it literally is Reservoir Dogs. Anybody can go and probably will go. I don't know whose favorite character Jimmy was or Patricia, but they both got eaten in this episode. So let me start with Joe Lauzon. Of this entire season, was there a cast member that got killed off that you kind of were bummed they left, or were you pretty happy with the folks that got killed off?
I'm with Yves. I was happy that Dale went. I was definitely happy when Shane went. I'm not upset. I think Rick is really the only one that's safe from dying. Everyone else is fair game.
Yeah. Yves, I know what you're going to say.
I was definitely happy that Dale died. I mean, I have that on my DVR queued up. I just watch that anytime I'm feeling down. But I'm waiting for Lori to get it too. She's really on my last nerve. I used to want Andrea to die when she shot Daryl, but she's kind of redeemed herself. But yeah, I just got to. I mean, Corey Lori's got to go.
You picked it up finally.
Oh, I like it. Nate, what about you? Who had to go? Who are you going to miss?
I was so glad when Dale got eaten. It's like, man, we do not need Jiminy Cricket here in the zombie apocalyptic world. Okay, and I live in this world. Don't mess with me, I won't mess with you. So he's there crying about this guy who wanted to shoot everybody and take their stuff. Like, old man, if you want to live that way, go be by yourself. Oh, wait, you were alone for 5 minutes and you got eaten. Cool. So now hopefully Lori will do that same thing. Hopefully she'll run off to find Carl again. She's the worst mother I've ever seen. And she'll get eaten, and that'll be a huge relief.
Tim, what about you?
Yeah, I've been waiting for Rick to kill Shane, so that was, that's a load off my mind. Somebody needs to, shut Lori up, and or get her on some Zoloft, a lot of Zoloft, and stick her in the corner. But I'm so happy, that T-Dog is still around. This has to be the only apocalyptic world that the token black guy is still hanging on. So I just want that guy to keep on being a baller, and if he could get a little bit more of that redneck Daryl in him, so hop on a motorcycle, maybe grab a machete, throw in a wad of chew and kill some things, he'd go up a huge notch in my book. But just the fact that he's still around is classic. But yeah, Shane's the man, had to go, and that made me happy.
What about you, Crooks? Was there? I feel like Dale is really the one that everyone wanted to see dead.
Dale is definitely the one everyone wanted to see dead. It's funny that the conscience is the antagonist in this show, but I have to disagree. I wasn't happy to see Shane go. I like the dynamic that he provided. He was the great antagonist for it, and I liked watching that whole thing play out. But I was kind of sad to see him go. I didn't want to see him go. I would much rather have seen Lori Horry go, or I'm not a fan of Carl. I can't stand him. I know in the comic he becomes something great, but I can't stand him. I wouldn't mind if he got chomped on. I can't help myself.
I'm with you, Kirkland. I liked Shane. I thought Shane was we're all talking about the guy who had a realistic sense of what this world was about. Outside of the fact that he went completely batshit crazy, I mean, the fact he wanted to kill Randall, which was the right move. He wanted to, the things that Shane actually wanted to institute before he lost his mind, I mean, completely went nutty because Lori, that speech at the end of the last episode when Lori's telling him, I know this is tough for you. We don't know this is my baby. Why don't you just go ahead and say you're going to get killed next? Why don't you just go ahead and tell the guy to go nuts because you're just pushing him over the edge? Women, Kirkland, we're turning on you here because this is the women, man. She was pushing Shane to the edge, but he was the most reasonable character of anybody. He actually had a realistic sense of what this world was about.
It really was a kill or be killed scenario, and nobody else wanted to buy into it except for him.
Yeah, exactly. Now, let me switch gears, and I'm going to kick things off with Nate with this question, because, again, this is kind of referencing the comic book. The end scene, we talked about the democracy thing, but the way they all came back together, and they're having this debate about, moving on or staying put or what they're going to do. I mean, I thought that it was well done, but it was also, was anyone else kind of confused how they all found each other so fast? But anyways, that's a conversation for another day. But the whole idea of staying put or moving on, there's this conflict going on. How much do you think that, I mean, is that just going to be something constant we're going to see without the show? Conflict of who's leading, what plan we should have. I mean, it seems like nobody really has a good idea of what to do. Nate, am I wrong in that? Is it just going to be a constant thing that's always going to go on in this show?
I'm still confused in how Rick got put in charge in the first place, and now he's jumping up and taking this leadership. There was no vote about it. I just think he's a terrible leader. All these decisions that he makes, he can't make the hard decisions when it comes time. I keep saying it over and over again. If he would have pulled that issue when I was sitting there, I would have just stood up and said, cool, man, you can run your crew. Everybody else who doesn't want to hang out with this completely psychotic guy and his bitch wife, come with me, or we'll make our own way. You guys are cool on your own. Peace.
I like it. Joe, what about you?
I'm kind of with Nate a little bit. I think Rick kind of took over leadership just because he was the authority, he was the law. I don't know if I would necessarily follow him either, but I like watching the show because he's kind of on the fence things. He tries to make like the humane decision on things in a place where you can't really be that humane. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
Eve, what about you? I feel like you would have taken over the group yourself.
You feel like what?
I feel like you would have just taken over the group yourself. Like, screw Rick, I'm taking over.
Yeah, I mean, I would have got rid of Rick right off the bat. That guy makes all the wrong decisions. I mean, all the wrong decisions. He wants to go back into a city full of walkers to get a bag full of guns. Yeah, the guns are nice to have, but a million walkers to try to get one bag full of guns, that makes no sense. Trying to save a guy who's shooting at him and put everybody at risk for doing that. He just makes all the wrong decisions. Like Nate was saying, Shane had all the right ideas, but unfortunately lost it, But I think going forward, I seriously think, I don't know anything about the comic book, and some of you guys that read it may know better than I do, or may know better than what I'm saying. But going forward, I think with the prison being a big part of the next season, I think there's going to be a lot of conflict there with there'll probably be some prisoners in there that still hate cops. And then that Michonne girl, she's obviously leadership material. So I think Rick is going to have a problem again as far as somebody trying to usurp his authority.
Yeah. Tim, what about you?
I would have usurped him. Like long ago. He and Shane both. While Shane Mason had definitely the right idea about how to run things, like hey, apocalyptic world, no more relationships. This whole like Lori, Shane, Rick, no, that stuff has to stop. The whole Glenn Maggie thing, no, that has to stop. You guys worry about like making babies and falling in love later. Right now, we're going to survive. Hey, we got a bunch of zombies that can't even climb. So let's get an elevated position and start killing something. No, it was just. Yeah, I would not have hopped in the Rick not democracy world. That guy would have just been in the back of the van. When I said the van, where are the Suburbans with all the dudes like me just waiting for this whole thing to go down so like we can start having fun? Some lady walks up with a couple of zombies on a leash and a samurai sword. And that's more realistic than a whole bunch of XFF guys that have just been praying for a zombie apocalypse for a whole entire career to happen so they can hop in their Suburbans, which all of us own. It's just, come on now. No, Rick, you're gone. I'm going to go with the guys in the black Suburbans with machine guns.
Yeah. Kirkland, what about you? Is it conflict or is it stupidity going on here?
It's a little bit of both, and personally, I think Daryl should be running the show. He seems very level-headed, and he knows he knows the woods. He knows how to survive better than anybody else. So he's the king of improv. He's making his own arrows, and he's a trail master. He's pretty much everything, and he's kind of badass because he has that bike. So I'm fully believing that. But I think we're going to see a different dynamic now. Rick was just forced to kill his best friend, and I think that certainly changed something in him. I think it's going to make him a better leader. I really do. Lori, with her stupid ass, she seemed to flip her fucking wig whenever he said that Carl put Shane down. They're in a whole different scenario now. The world is not the same. She should be wanting to push her kid into the role of the man a little bit early too, and for her to get all stupid like that, it just pissed me off. And when Eve was ranting on Twitter last night, I was 100% with you, Eve.
I can't stand that chick.
Yeah, that's the part that bugged me the most about the whole finale was the fact that they were like when Shane or when Rick told Lori about Shane and she gets all upset and pulls away from him, like, what are you talking about? You got him killed. You're the reason Shane's dead. Like, you're the one that went up to him and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. We don't know if this kid is ours. I know how hard this must be. By the way, why don't you just go ahead and try to kill my husband?" I mean, that's basically what she did. And then she's getting all upset about the fact that they got mad that Rick actually had to do it. That drove me nuts. Like, I've actually been a little bit on Laurie's side this season, but that moment was the breaking point. I'm like, shut up. You can't be mad at this guy for carrying out what basically you set in motion. But anyways, that's my feeling on that subject. So now one of the biggest dynamics of the show, before we get to our last couple of questions here, I want to throw this out there because the big revelation, or one of the biggest revelations last night, was Dr. Jenner, the quack from season 1. What he whispered in Rick's ear was finally revealed, which is everybody is infected. If you die, you're getting back up. And I guess I wasn't as surprised because I've watched a lot of zombie movies, and I thought it was kind of common knowledge that if you just die, you would come back, but maybe that was, I don't know, I didn't feel like it was as big a revelation, but the fact that whatever it is makes you come back, everybody is infected, I thought that was kind of a cool twist. So, Joe, I'll start with you. Were you surprised? Did you kind of see that coming? What did you think about that big revelation?
I saw it coming. Like, I'm like you, I've seen a lot of zombie movies, so I wasn't really that surprised. And I definitely remember there was something that Jenner told Rick, so I kind of figured that might be it. And Rick went out of his way to shoot the guys in the bar in the head.
Yeah, he did do that. So, Eve, what about you?
I read tons of zombie books, so I wasn't surprised by that at all. It's one of those things I just didn't know how it would work out. I always thought like the virus went airborne at some point and everybody's just infected. It doesn't affect them until they die, but I guess it's just something genetic and everybody has it. Yeah.
Tim, what about you?
I wasn't surprised. Love zombie stories. It's a story that has to keep moving forward, and they have to introduce some sense of hope. That not everyone's infected, that there can be a cure, that there can be a solution. But with that in mind, if you're going to move yourself into a prison, if somebody dies inside that prison, now you're trapped with a zombie inside the prison. So you're going to have to take some necessary measures moving forward to make sure that you don't get eaten from the inside out, instead of from your external worries.
Yeah. Eve, what about you? Surprise, shock, or kind of saw it coming?
Are you talking to me or Nate?
Eve.
Oh no, I'm not surprised. I saw it coming. I just answered this question.
Oh, were you the one? I'm sorry. Well, Nate, once again, his phone is defective, so he once again fell off the line. So I want to make sure I got everybody's answer on that. Kirkland, I know you haven't answered. So what did you think of the?
Well, I did catch up with it, and yeah, I was a little surprised for the simple fact that everybody in the show was surprised. Before it was you had to be bitten, and then a little later on they mentioned something about, oh my God, it was only a scratch and now he's infected. So I'm thinking that this virus is mutating as it goes along, which obviously it has, because now you just drop dead and now you're a zombie, because even everybody in the show was shocked. So it didn't even occur to me, and I'll be quite honest, when what Jenner had said in the first season. So yeah, I was a little shocked.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm the dumb one here in the group.
I watch Dale's death a lot, and it looks to me like towards the end of it, he starts to turn. Like if you look at his eyes start to turn. So I just expected that to be a part of this season. I didn't realize the season was going to end 2 episodes later, but I expected that to come up.
Yeah. All right. So as we get ready to wrap up our Walking Dead show, and again, I want to say a huge thank you to all you guys for coming on. Let me go around the horn. I'll start with Tim Kennedy, and I'll start here. We got season 3 coming up. At the end of the episode, we got the revelation about the zombie virus or the infection. We got the prison off in the distance. We've got Michonne, the sword-wielding badass. We've got Rick taking over as a Ricktatorship. What are you most looking forward to about season 3 of The Walking Dead? Is there one thing in particular, or are you just excited for it to come back? Because it doesn't come back till October. So are you ready for these next several months?
Well, I always stand ready. So if apocalypse happens, come to me. You will survive. How I'm going to survive from now until October without some decent entertainment, I'm not sure. But what am I looking forward to the most? Somebody actually, like, the potential, the fruition that, hey, we're in an apocalyptic world. We're going to fight to survive. I want that to be embodied. I want everybody stopped to personify we're fighting for our lives. And I want the dudes with the machine guns up on top of the prison wall.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Let's go back around. Let's see, Yves, what do you think? What are you most looking forward to as season 3?
Man, I think my favorite part of season 3 is going to be the fact that they're going to be in a prison, so there'll be a lot of black people there, and T-Dog will have more lines. It's kind of ridiculous that we haven't seen T-Dog since they got to the farm. You know what I mean? But in season 3, should be fun. I'm excited about this Michonne chick. She looks like a true ninja. That it's kind of like Tim is all on the guns and getting his rifles and machine guns, and I'm down with the bladed weapons, man. That's my thing, and that's how I'm running zombie apocalypse. A couple of swords and some big knives. And I just want to see the dynamic of the prison, because they're going to have a system already set up. And then this group of 9 people just walk in, and they have a leader that thinks he's going to take over. And I just see that causing some conflict. And it's nice to see some more conflict other than just zombies, because that's just perpetual. It's not going to end. It's just going to constantly go and constantly go. There's no dynamic to it. They just don't stop. But, dealing with other people that already have a system in place, and you come in and try to change that and try to take over or run things a different way, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Joe, what about you? What part are you most looking forward to as season 3?
Well, Yves is thinking that there's already people inhabiting the prison. I think it's just been overrun. I'm really looking forward to them, going to the prison and going, cell by cell, block by block, clearing out all the zombies. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's and that's the coolest thing. I think that's one of the things that really transcends the show, is that how excited everyone. It's like everyone's already theorizing what's going to happen, and I love the teasers. We know that Michonne is coming in. They've casted this character, and Joe, since you've read the comics and everything, the governor is coming in season 3. Which, for those of you that have not read the comics, read the comics, because Joe, tell them please, what are they getting with the governor?
I don't want to give too much away. The governor is basically, he's got his own little town, and he runs shit. And, that's basically, I don't want to give away too much.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin it for people.
Yeah, it's going to get nasty. So, it's like I said, it's going to be crazy stuff. Kirkland, what about you? What are you most looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to seeing more of Michonne. I understand, Merle's coming back, so it'll be nice to see Merle and the dynamic that he's going to have with everybody. And definitely excited to see what happens in that prison.
Yeah, the prisons are pretty crazy. Like I said, that's the thing about the comic, and I know Joe will agree with me on this, is they've kept things interesting. They've kept things fresh, a little different from the comic, but at the same time, they've kept things, there's some big continuity parts, like the prison, like the farm, that have been the same. Before we go, Nate, you're back with us here. Let me throw this to you real quick. What is you, because you've also been an avid comic reader of this, what are you most looking forward to with season 3?
What am I most looking forward to in the series?
In season 3, what are you most looking forward to?
Well, see, it looks like they're heading off towards the prison, so that has some really cool storylines. I want to see the governor come into play. So you've got Michonne, however you pronounce her name. She's going to be the coolest new character, and if they play her out and have her interact with the governor like they did in the books, it is insane. I don't think they could get away with that on TV, but it is some crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, we are all huge fans of The Walking Dead, and I want to say a huge thank you to all of you guys for coming on. Let me go around the horn so we can give you guys a chance to plug where you're at. People can find you. I'll start with Tim Kennedy as you get ready for your next fight in Strike Force. Tell people where they can find you, check you out at.
Twitter at Tim Kennedy MMA. My Facebook fan page is at Tim Kennedy MMA. And then watch, I'll be fighting for the Strike Force middleweight title, hopefully very, very soon. So watch me on Showtime and get that big strap and then move on.
There you go. Yves Edwards, I know right now, unfortunately, you're dealing with a little bit of an injury, but that just means you get to watch Dale die over and over and over again.
That's what I do. Anytime I start feeling down and sad, when I look on my Twitter and see Tim Kennedy's training or Joe Lauzon just got done with a hard day of practice, I go watch Dale die because that makes me get crazy up. But man, just my Twitter is at Doug Jitsu Master. My Facebook fan page is Yves Edwards. And I just want to say thanks to everybody, man. I've gotten a lot of support from people. It's kind of crazy. It's like nobody should care that I'm hurt, but, people do, and I appreciate that, man. Clinch Gear, MMA Overload, and American Top Team, man. These guys always support me, so thank you guys for everything. And MMA Weekly, I'm always down with you.
Yeah, absolutely. You're part of the family, Yves. Joe, what about you, buddy? Go ahead and give your shout-outs to anybody where they want to check you out. You're like the master of Twitter, so...
I'm the social media master. I try to be. I'm on Twitter, just Joe Lauzon. I'm on Facebook, facebook.com/Joe Lauzon. And I got my website, joelazon.com, where I'm always posting pictures and video blogs. I think we did like 5 video blogs in our last fight in Japan, which are all pretty cool. So
yeah, and make sure, and they can all listen to you today on MMA Weekly about The Walking Dead. Just throwing that out there, since you are the social media master. So, and Nate Corey, the show is MMA Uncensored Live. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Tell us where they can check you out. Obviously, every Thursday night.
Yeah, every Thursday night at 11 p.m. on TV. Every week, you never know who's going to be there. Chael Sonnen was there last week. And we're not just reporting the scores. We're actually giving our opinions. To me, it's like sitting down with your buddies and BSing about the fights. You can follow me at Nate Rock Quarry on Twitter. If you have any issues with your lower back problems, I'm a spokesman for the company that gave me my life back in Invasive. Check out thebetterwayback.org. And then follow me at zombie-cagefighter.com. That's where you can get the coolest zombie cage fighter gear. We're working on the animated series, going to be launching the comic book this summer at ComicCon. And it's just an awesome, awesome ride.
Yeah, definitely. And I got to compliment you, man. You've had the 2 best lines thus far on MMA Uncensored. In the first episode, when you said, I don't know about the Yakuza, but they know how to throw a fight. And then the last episode, when you were giving Chael Sonnen, are you ever going to learn how to defend the triangle? 2 best lines so far on the show. So kudos, sir, for those 2 lines.
Well, I've known Chael for 13 years, so I felt I could go a little bit further with him. And like I said on the show, I was there when he got triangled the first time 13 years ago. I'm hoping he works on that a little bit better in the future.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, Comic-Con, boys, if everyone's free in July, you should come out to San Diego Comic-Con. It's a great time. Last year I saw Phil Davis and a couple other guys, and Nate, I'm sure I'll see you out there this year, but we all need to get out there. The Walking Dead panel, it's good time. So again, guys, thank you so much sincerely. I'm sure we'll have you all back on real soon to talk about fighting, but today was all about The Walking Dead. So seriously, a big thank you from us at MMA Weekly and for Kirkland and everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time, guys.
Anytime.
Thank you, man.
All right, guys. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
A quick reference to Comic-Con. Spike TV is going to have a booth there for the very first time, so I'm going to be hosting their booth and launching the Zombie Cage Fighter comic there. So any of my fighter buddies, anybody who wants to come around, just holler at me and we'll get you hooked up.
So in other words, I need to come hang out at the Spike TV booth when I come to San Diego this year.
Damn right.
I love it. Nate, thank you, everybody. And again, we'll talk to you guys soon.
Cool. Take it easy, man.
All
Thanks
right.
again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Want to say thank you once again to all of the fighters and Michael Rooker, of course, Yves Edwards, Joe Lauzon, Nate Corey, Tim Kennedy. Huge thank you to all those guys for taking the time. They all love The Walking Dead. We all love The Walking Dead. So Kirkland, it only seemed natural to pick those 4 guys out. But I have a feeling, and it's already started, we're going to get messages from other fighters who wanted to be a part of this.
Absolutely. We've got to include King Mo in because he's a big fan. Luke Aldno. There's just a ton of guys that watch this show. Ronda Rousey is also a fan, and I know that you're going to be speaking with her sometime later tonight, so you might want to ask her as well because she is a Walking Dead fan.
Yeah, see, it's transcended. It was funny. I got, as soon as I announced I was doing the show, people, I could put out, hey, I need guests for the radio. I'll get 2 responses. I say I'm doing a Walking Dead show, 50 people respond. So I think there's something to be said that this show transcends just MMA. So, but we love it. Now our next guest, and this was an awesome interview. You and I conducted this one as well, of course, with T-Dog himself, Irone Singleton, and what a great interview! What a great guy! And we had a blast doing this interview, and this was a lot of fun.
Yes, we did. It was fantastic. I gotta give props to both of our guests for being so kind and generous with their time and so expansive with their answers. So it's definitely a pleasure and an honor for us.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into our interview with T-Dog himself, who you saw in the Season 2 finale of The Walking Dead last night. He was a big part of last night's episode, although I still think he should have kicked Lori out of the truck and said, bye, bitch.
Me too.
But that's just me. But anyways, let's talk to T-Dog himself, Irone Singleton, and check out this interview because it is a load of fun. We are here with MMA Weekly Radio. I am Damon Martin along with Crooklyn from Tap Out Radio, and we are welcoming today another member of The Walking Dead officially, T-Dog, Irone Singleton. Irone, how you doing, man? Appreciate you taking the time for us.
Hey. Good morning, MMA Weekly. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you on, and I'll let my co-host Crooklyn kick things off because we got a lot to talk about today.
Well, first off, I have to know what your thoughts are on this not being a democracy, and second, what are you thinking now that everybody's infected?
Ooh. Now, the affected thing, that just came from nowhere. That was like a big left hook and a right hook at the same time upside the head. I have not really, T-Dog hasn't really taken that in. He hasn't really absorbed that, but this democracy thing, that's more up close and personal seems like. I'm like, if everybody's affected, that means we've been affected, so life is going on as usual. It hasn't really stopped anything, and I'm like, okay, so once we die, then we come back as a zombie. So the key is to not die, right?
Right.
So we're still in survival mode, Kirtland. So it's like, okay, well, just business as usual. As long as I do that, take care of number one in a sense, then everything will be okay. Now, as far as this not being a democracy, I have a problem with that. Maybe a little bit. Let's see. Because I love a democracy. I love America. So we're going to have to find out what's going to happen with that.
I saw the look on his T-Dog's face when that was said, and I could just see the jaw clenching, and I was like, oh, Lord, there's going to be a little rumble here any minute.
You don't know how many people sent a text or mentioned that to me. They were like, oh, my goodness, T-Dog, that look you gave at the end was priceless. It was, somebody said epic. I got different adjectives to describe that look. But, I wanted to send a message of ambiguity. I wanted people to kind of be uncertain as to why I was making that face. It could go either way. Like, it could be like, oh, wow, so now Rick is stepping up. So now he has a fact. It's like, all right, we're going to see what you're all about, Rick. Now that you're taking out your best friend, I'm like, this guy may be loonier. He may be a lot more loony than Shane. Man, so he may be ready to be the boss. He may be ready to take on this leadership position. So it could be that or, or the other way.
Yeah, it definitely, I looked at him and I thought, my goodness, pardon my French, but his balls finally dropped. It was definitely a great episode, though. What I want to do right now, I'm going to turn you over to my co-host here. Damon's got a ton of questions for you, and we're really so excited to talk to you, Damon.
Well, Irone, let me start here because I was watching, I've watched a lot of the Talking Dead episodes on AMC as well, and one of the things that makes this show so crazy is week to week, literally we don't know which character is going to survive. We saw Dale and Shane both go in the last 2 weeks. So as an actor and obviously as a fan of the show, when you get your script every week, is it crazy that you're reading through okay, I'm still here, I'm surviving? Is there any of that feeling? Because really this is a show that there's no guarantees.
I know, right? Kind of like The Sopranos. If somebody mentioned 24, I never really watched 24, although I heard it was a phenomenal show. But we're always looking over our back okay, am I the one that's going to get it today? It's kind of like that, especially early on. Early on, it was really like that. When I first received the script and I read the part where T-Dog slices his arm, I'm like, oh, my goodness, how big is this slice? And it's like he's bleeding profusely and this and that. And I said, wait, let me jump to the back of the script. So I jumped to the back of the script because I wanted to see if T-Dog was still alive at the end. And that's what I did, David. And I said, oh, he's still alive. So I wiped the sweat bubbles from my forehead. And then I jumped back to the beginning. And I said, okay, now I can read just for sheer entertainment value. as opposed to reading for my life. And but then I found out that I got a fever. T-Dog got a fever, so I had to wait until the next episode to see if I would survive the fever. And yes, a little bit of trepidation set in then also. So it is true.
And I know that, as an actor, when you work on a series like this, you really do become close with cast members. You become, friends, family, whatever you want to call it. I mean, how tough is it, when you read that call sheet or you read that script and it says, Dale's leaving or when John Bernthal left or whatever. I mean, how tough is that as an actor to see people you've become friends with over 2 seasons, written out of the show? I imagine that it's literally like losing a family member.
Man, it is. It's very tough. Like I consider them to be my extended family, my second family, my family away from home. We had gotten very close, and there are special relationship. I have a special relationship with the two of them, and it was in its own unique way. And to see them go, there were very wet eyes, wet eyeballs, and tearful moments. We had those moments to where, John and I, Bernthal Shane, and Dale, Jeffrey DeMond and I, we look at each other and kind of be like, wow, so this is the end of the road for us, on this journey right here. Although there will be times where we will see each other again, but we were like, this special journey right here is about to come to an end. And we felt it and we communicated that just with our energy. And it was a nice moment, but sad to see them go. Very sad.
So with season 3, I'm guessing, especially since it was announced with Michael Rooker, is coming back for a good portion of the show, we're going to see a lot more of you.
I'm hoping so. Now, because I'm glad that T-Dog survived. Doing interviews before the season finale, I had to keep people, I guess, wondering whether or not he would survive. So now I can say, yes, T-Dog is back. And then now it's time to deal with Merle Dixon. Yeah, so bring on the Merle.
That was my segue from my co-host. He's been dying to ask you about that. Go ahead, Damon.
Yeah, that seems like the dynamic of the 3rd season is going to be really interesting because, what kicked off the whole season was, of course, T-Dog and Merle's interaction. Then here you go into season 3 and Merle's back in some way, shape, or form. So I can only imagine that that's going to be a very interesting storyline when they meet up again.
Oh, it is. And, well, actually, T-Dog and Merle did meet up like 2 weeks ago in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and there was a bit of a standoff. And Merle got a bit of revenge, and we were there with the Zombie Survival crew at Monster Mania, and he served T-Dog octopus sashimi, and that is something that T-Dog does not like at all. But he forced it to him with chopsticks. So you probably stumbled upon that picture on Twitter or Facebook or something like that. So I think that's a precursor to what Merle has coming, what Merle has in store, and it may not be good, y'all.
Now, Irony, before we move back to the show itself, I want to ask you, because I know that when you become the part of The Walking Dead, and I'm also a fan of the comic book, is that you become part of the science fiction comic book community. If you walk into ComicCon in San Diego in a few months, you'll be mobbed by about 50,000 fans. How much has your own personal life changed being a part of this show, because it's such a cultural show that really has transcended comic books and sci-fi fans into just casual society, but at the same time, you are now part of that mythos, so to speak. You will never escape The Walking Dead, whether you're now or 20 years from now, people are still going to be like, oh my gosh, it's T-Dog.
Wow. That is a huge statement. That's a big statement. And it feels good. My life has gone from one extreme to the other. A line I use in my one-man show, I say, I feel my life has gone from the abyss to the utopia end of the spiritual spectrum. I've come from an environment where I was spiritually dead. My conscience was, for the most part, dormant. So I'm now at a point in my life where I've acknowledged a responsibility to be a role model. And that is where I am now. I think that God has put me in a position to where I have a platform to where many people hear me and respect my message when I speak it. So that is exactly where I am, from one extreme to the other. And it's a great feeling to be a part of such a distinguished group. Yes.
Now, Irony, there's so much that happened in the season finale, and there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. But the big one, and I gotta admit, I am a big comic book fan, was the ending with Andrea and the first appearance of Michonne. Robert Kirkman confirmed last night they have casted the role. Denai Guerrera has taken that role, kicking off in season 3. Talk to us about that. Did you? I gotta ask first. Did you read the comics, and then what did you think of that outro? Because it seemed to be the buzz of the internet last night after the episode was over.
Yeah, I read the comics, and I skipped around and jumped to the part of Michonne. The compendium is so thick, I haven't completely gotten through it. I think that she may prove to be an excellent choice. She's beautiful. And I was like, wow, this could work out here. I'm looking forward to that experience. Had no idea that she was even in the running. They were talking about somebody from True Blood. A couple of other names came up, but when they announced her, I started doing a bit of research, and I was like, wow, okay. This might work out. So I'm happy.
Yeah. So now let me ask you this: with the finale, one of the things I love about the fact that there is a comic book out there is people see these expectations. What about the prison, which we saw the great last shot last night? How cool is it? It seems like the advertising and the way they built this show, when they announced the casting of the governor, who is a major character in season 3. Now we've seen Michonne show up. I mean, it's got to be fun to be a part of the show where they've already built into next season. There's none of this. Are we coming back? Or what is season 3 is a chance we get picked up. I mean, the fans are already rabid. I mean, I got so many messages last night of people saying, can they just film year round? Can they just have a show that doesn't stop airing? Because that's how much people are into this show.
Oh my goodness. I know. I'm as excited too. I feel the same way. I think those shots are so epic, right? My wife and I were trying to figure out which shot seemed most epic. Was it the one with Michonne at the end with the cloak over her head and wow, who is that under that cloak? Or was it the prison shot, the overhead shot to the prison, that bird's eye shot? Or was it the barn burning at the end? Kind of reminded me of Gone with the Wind, I think, like with the house burning or whatever. But it was so many epic shots, and all of them just kind of just have me just waiting on next season. We should kind of petition for that, right? To just having a year-round Walking Dead. Show.
Yeah. And for me, it was the armless zombies on chains. I got to admit, that was so cool.
Oh my goodness, right? Wasn't it? Now, how is that going to work? I said, man, she seems to be larger than life now. Like she's comic book-esque, well, for sure. But how do you maintain that? That had to be something tough to audition for, that role, because you're like a superhero. That's how they presented her. So when she takes off the cloak, is she going to go from being superhero to because we still know under that cloak is a regular human being.
Yeah,
so
but they picked the right girl for that. They sure did, because she'll transcend the cloak.
I think so, and I'm hoping so. I'm looking forward to it.
So now, Irony, a big part for you in the show last night was the scene in the car as you're driving away, and Lori, and it's funny because I don't know how much you read the stuff online, but there's some funny stuff out there about the way Lori is and the way that T-Dog is and the way that Carl is, all these different things. And I, as an actor, I thought that was a brilliant portrayal last night in the car when she's wanting to get out, and he's like, I should just leave you here. In the back of my mind, I'm like, just leave her, just be done with this, because she's crazy, because I'm thinking, it's a zombie apocalypse, man, you just can't go back. But that was a really brilliant scene. I thought you did a great job. The look on your face when she tried to get out of the car, I was thinking he might actually leave her. Like, that might actually be the end of Lori right there.
You know what? Last night, I went to a screening of the finale at this restaurant, Bar and Grill Diesel filling station here in Atlanta, and that's what a lot of people screamed out. They said, well, just leave her, Tito. Tito, go. Don't stick around. And then when I made the decision to turn around, then that right there, that took me to another level. I think people respected T-Dog more because he turned around. Yeah, people were saying leave her, but I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, do you respect T-Dog as much for leaving her and allowing her to walk back like that? Because, I mean, sometimes sacrifices are necessary. You have to take into account that's her husband. We're talking about her husband, and her son. And then for Beth, we're talking about her father and her sister. So who would I be? How much of a man would I be, of a person I would be, to actually just let them get out and walk? I mean, the least I can do is maybe go, we are in a vehicle. The least I can do is just go back. Let's go back to the highway to look. If they're not there, we're turning around.
And there's no easy part of doing a show like this, because in the acting scenes, the strictly dialogue scenes, I'm sure that's that's a certain way you got to run things. But last night was so action packed, and I saw the interview with Laurie Holden, who plays Andrea. She talked about her day of being in the woods was literally a day straight of her literally just running through the woods. I mean, how was the physicality of this last episode? Because you're driving the car. I mean, there's so much going on. I mean, how long did this span over, and how much was a change for that over, let's say, the first part of the season, or the middle of the season, I should say, where you guys were pretty much just planted on, just basically being on the farm. Everything kind of took place there.
Mm-hmm. Well, we had our moments throughout the season where it was tough, physically demanding for lots of us. I think that this last episode was probably the toughest for Laurie Holden, who plays Andrea. And like she said on Talking Dead, I think she said that that section was entitled, the script actually was entitled Andrea's Woods. Every week we get a title of the script, and they called it Andrea's Woods, meaning that it was basically all about her. So I think it was the most demanding for her. For that, the duration for half of that episode, I was driving, so I was in the truck, so I didn't really have to do as much. Yeah, but it was tough for her and tougher for other people also.
Yeah, it was a great episode, and it seemed to mix everything in, because I know that was one of the questions, and I loved Glenn Mazzara said it last night when people said we want more zombies on the show, and I thought he was brilliant in saying that you can always have too much of any one thing, and he said the great part about The Walking Dead is at the heart of it, it's about these characters, not necessarily it's the characters that happen to be living in the zombie apocalypse, and while the zombies are always going to be a big part of it, I love the character development, and like we said, that end scene with T-Dog looking down on Rick when he made the this isn't a democracy anymore speech. You see the prison in the background. Again, the way the storytelling's done on this show is just so excellent.
You're getting me excited. Stop it. You're getting me This thing is so brilliant, like brilliantly written and mapped out. They had the task, Glenn and Robert, the entire crew and AMC, everybody, they had the task of actually walking that tightrope. Like, you had to satisfy at least two demographics. You had to satisfy the side that wanted the guts and the gore, all the blood fest. Then you have the other side. They love the story and the drama and everything. But then you have the group like me. I'm right in the middle. I love them both. So how do you satisfy them? So you can't just have zombies throughout. And so I thought it was brilliant to where, okay, let's do the farm, and then every now and then we're going to throw our zombies in there, because like Glenn mentioned and Robert mentioned, I think if you could have zombies throughout, people become desensitized. It's not as effective. You want it to count. I think Robert said this. You want it to count when you have zombies. You don't want it to have zombies every episode. It gets old. So it was great. Brilliant. Brilliantly done.
My last question before we get you out of here, Irony, and I really appreciate you taking the time, but I got to ask you, this is one just big question's been burning inside of me, because you're a part of this cast, you're a part of the family at The Walking Dead. Does Carl ever stay in the house? Ever? Does the kid ever stay in the house? Like,
great question. Carl does not, but Chandler does. Chandler Riggs stays in the house. Carl doesn't. I don't know what's going on with Carl.
Okay, I had to know.
That was a great question.
Fantastic. Oh, my goodness.
Well, Irony, it's been an absolute pleasure. Again, we appreciate you taking the time for this special edition. The MMA fans are such huge fans of The Walking Dead, and we're huge fans of yours. And really, we do appreciate you taking the time. And we'd love to have you back season 3. I know filming starts in May. Obviously, it'll kick off later this year on AMC. And we'd love to have you back again. I think we should just have like a seasonal edition of The Walking Dead on MMA Weekly Radio.
Wow, I would love that. Now, I am a huge MMA fan myself, and have been for years. I look forward to that opportunity. I love you guys. Thank you. I appreciate it, and the pleasure was all mine. God bless. Much continued success.
Thank you very much, Irony. Again, appreciate it, and we'll definitely talk to you soon.
All right. Y'all take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Want to say a big thank you once again to Irone Singleton, T-Dog from The Walking Dead. I got to say, I've interviewed a lot of MMA fighters. You have as well, Kirkland. But and this is no offense to the great fighters I've interviewed, the guys like George St. Pierre and John Jones, guys like that. But, man, I was geeking out hardcore when we got to interview Michael Rooker and Irone Singleton.
Yeah, you and I must have talked for a good solid hour after each one of these interviews and Facebooked and tweeted and just basically zombie geeked out. So it was pretty nice.
Yeah.
Every once in a while we get to interview some really, really awesome people that are outside of the awesome people of the MMA world. And this is definitely sort of like a pinnacle.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, but we are we want to say a big thank you to all of our guests today. Of course, a huge thank you to the two of the stars from The Walking Dead, Michael Rooker, Merle Dixon. A big thank you to T-Dog himself, Irone Singleton, and of course all of our fighter friends who came on who love The Walking Dead, Tim Kennedy, Yves Edwards, Joe Lauzon, Nate Corey, and of course Kirkland. Thank you again, seriously, for helping to organize everything, especially with the actors. They seriously, we would not have this show today if it was not for you. So thank you so much. You are part of the family, and that's how we do things. But really, sincerely, thank you for helping us do this, because it went from kind of a fun little idea to a major show, and it was kind of fun seeing it all come together.
Hey, anything I can do to help my family, I will.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, everybody, thank you again for tuning in. The Walking Dead Season 3 production starts May 16th in Georgia, and the Season 3 will kick off in October. If you're in Atlanta for UFC 145, make sure you hit me up, because I'm actually going to be going and visiting some of the tour sets from The Walking Dead, so hit me up. Maybe I can get you to tag along, so hit me up for that if you are a Walking Dead fan. Otherwise, return for The Walking Dead in October, and I think we need to make this a regular occasion. Kirkland, we think every season finale we just do a special show like this?
I think we should do preseason and postseason. Maybe I'll do the preseason on mine. We do the postseason on yours. We make it a family affair.
I like it. I like the idea.
I like the idea.
I like
the share and share alike thing.
Exactly, exactly. Well, today, again, want to say a huge thank you. Michael Rooker, Irone Singleton, Tim Kennedy, Joe Lauzon, Nate Corey, Yves Edwards, and, of course, Kirkland. I am Damon Martin. We will see you back for MMA Weekly Radio on Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you then.
Woo! Bada bing!